The simple fact of the matter is that people do not have a hearing loss, they have a clarity loss. Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 305, and today I want to talk to you guys specifically about the differences between hearing loss and clarity loss. But before I do me a huge favor, click the like button, really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. So what prompted today's video? Well, as you guys know, I like to scour the hearing loss forums, and I found a post. This was a really good post by an individual where they were asking a question about how significant their hearing loss was. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you right now. This was my loss 3 years ago for my first ever assessment. Since then, it has worsened at each audiology appointment, so now the loss in both ears is just about a match. Just confirming, as most people's loss looks less than mine. This is significant loss, correct? And just to answer this question right off the bat, yes, this is a significant hearing loss. But a lot of individuals don't even realize that they're having a hearing loss when it has this particular type of configuration. What do I mean by that? Well, you can generally break down the range of your hearing into low, mid, and high frequencies. If you have a hearing loss in the low frequencies, it takes away the perception of volume. If you have a hearing loss more in the mid and high frequencies, it takes away the perception of clarity. This just has to do with the different speech components that are across these frequency ranges. The high frequencies have the consonant sounds, which give you clarity, and the low frequencies have the vowel sounds, which give you volume. So typically speaking, when someone has good low frequency hearing, like this individual does, they feel like, hey, I can hear everybody's talking and I don't really have a problem with that. The problem for this individual is the clarity of speech, because they're basically missing all of their high frequencies. Now, I pray that this individual actually treated their hearing loss years ago when they started to identify this loss, because this is a very significant high frequency hearing loss. There's a lot of speech information in these upper frequency ranges that this individual just does not have access to anymore. But this is the problem, because when you have a high frequency hearing loss, you typically don't even notice it. All that happens is that you start to feel like people are mumbling, or they're just not speaking clearly, or you need to be able to see them to understand what they're saying, but you feel like the volume of their voice is actually good. In fact, the low frequency hearing of this particular individual is exceptional. It's so good that this individual is doubting really that they have hearing loss, or that the hearing loss that they do have is really that bad. But here's the thing. If you are struggling with clarity, like this individual likely is, then you need to make sure that you're getting the high frequencies treated properly. So how you do this with hearing aids is that you typically will either open fit this individual or vented fit this individual. What do I mean by that? Well, typically you want to use a receiver and canal hearing aid where the microphones are behind your ears, with the receiver that goes into your ear canal down at the end of a wire that comes off of the hearing aid. Then what you do is you allow all of the natural low frequency sounds that this individual can still hear really well to come into the ear canal naturally to vibrate the eardrum. But what you want to do is supplement the mid and high frequencies with the hearing aid. So you're actually gradually increasing the amplification the higher out in frequency that you go. If you do this well, meaning that you're verifying it with real ear measurement to ensure that all of the missing high frequencies are restored back to this individual's brain, then they're going to have access to all of the high frequency speech information that will restore clarity in speech. It's important to understand that this does not typically result in a significant increase in volume perception, because remember, volume is typically perceived in the low frequency ranges. Yes, you'll have a little bit of an increase in overall volume from the amplification from the hearing aids, but generally speaking, this individual would end up reporting getting a lot more clarity when they have hearing aids rather than getting more volume. Now, if you do not do this correctly, meaning your hearing care professional does not treat it properly, does not verify the high frequencies are being restored back to your brain with real ear measurement, or they're selecting a hearing aid that doesn't even have the ability to amplify high frequencies that well, you're going to feel like you still go out and you're having struggles with clarity of speech. The thing that stood out to me the most about this particular post is that this audiogram was from the very first hearing test that this individual had ever had. Yes, it was 3 years ago, but it was their first audiogram. And they already at that point had a severe high frequency hearing loss, and they didn't go in any earlier than that based on struggles with clarity. In my opinion, this is why people end up waiting so long to treat their hearing loss, because they just don't realize that they have a hearing loss, because hearing isn't the problem. Clarity is the problem. So here's the thing. If you're struggling with clarity of when people are talking rather than the perception of volume when people are talking, you could have a high frequency hearing loss. And if you're wearing hearing aids and you still struggle with clarity, you might need to go back and get your hearing rechecked because the high frequencies could have dropped down more. And if that's the case, you need to have the amplification adjusted in the hearing aids, or you need to get better hearing aids that are capable of amplifying the high frequencies. And the number one most important thing when it comes to amplifying high frequencies is you have to have it verified with real ear measurement. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that you'll actually gain access to these high frequency speech components to give you that better clarity. But I want to hear from you. How long did it take you to go in and actually get your hearing tested and decide to treat your hearing loss with hearing aids if you had a high frequency hearing loss? Let me know down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.